And what I don't like is when I don't know who I'm working for because, as you said, it's hidden. It's hidden. So I said to these people, I said, you work for Macmillan, but you don't know who owns the company. So
Who else? Mm-hmm.
so I went on the internet. And, okay, who owns Macmillan? Hmm. I could not find who owned the company.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was this people, and they sold it to somebody, and they sold it to somebody else, and they sold it to another organization. And could I find out who owned the Macmillan Publishing Company? No,
Mm-hmm.
no. So that to me is just it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because if you know who you work for, I think you can feel good about what you're doing because you understand the situation. When you don't know who you work for, how do you know that you're not working for the devil?
Mm-hmm.
And as a Christian, I have to ask myself this question.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask myself this question because I think it's a very important question for happiness and life satisfaction. To know that you are doing the right thing is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To know that you're helping people with what you do, to know that you're giving value to people, that you're improving the quality of their life is very important, I think, within what people do. And uh, sometimes it's not important. Sometimes you do a good job and everyone's happy. That's great. That's okay. But it's interesting, you know. Who do you work for, and who do they work for, and where does that come from, and maybe it's a distraction. Maybe it's not important for some people, but I just think it's interesting that people can spend all of their life working, but not knowing who they are working for. It and that's when we learn to choose carefully. That's when we learn to be more objective and to choose carefully. Um, is 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 money important? Yes, uh, money is important for one reason and one reason only. Money can buy you freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's
Yes.
that's that, but it can only buy you freedom from the things that are connected to money. Right. So you can buy the holiday in a nice place, and that's a good thing. Because it's an industry and it's a business and it connects people and life is complicated and you to get to the airport and get on a plane and travel somewhere and book through a travel agency and there's all these interconnected things and everybody's working together and it's fantastic. Um, but the 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 money trap is that we all not all of us, we tend to overextend ourselves. We tend to borrow more money than we have or borrow more money than we need. And what does the Bible say? Neither a lender nor a borrower be. Don't give money and don't take money. It's the phrase, neither a lender nor a borrower be. Do not lend money and do not borrow
Mm-hmm.
money.
Mm-hmm.
Lend to give, borrow to take. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it says that there. Why did Jesus get angry in the Bible? There's only one example of him getting angry, and that's when he turned over the tables of the moneylenders. Yeah. He got angry with the people who were giving people money that they know the people couldn't pay back. It was a trap. It was a trap. And So we can see that example of the value of the importance of the idea there. Um, but anyway, I try to connect it to business and say that we make better business decisions when we understand more clearly who we are working for and who we are working with. And the more information and the more clarity we have, the better decisions we make. Because problems come from the fact that there's things that we don't know or that we don't see. It might be that we can't see it. It might be that it's there. It might be that we're blind.
Mm.
But the problems usually come from things that we don't know or that we can't see. So the more information we can collect and gather
Mm.
when we make our business decisions, the better decisions we make. Yeah, I think the biggest problem is in understanding whether or not good can influence bad or bad can influence good. And it's
Mm.
really difficult because the only way to make the only way to make a difference and make things better is to be involved, right? We
Mm.
can, there's no other way to do things. You can't make a business without making business decisions. You can't change the world without trying to change the world. You have to
Mhm.
do something, right? Um, and so there's a lot of situations where people have difficult decisions to make in business, and I think that there's two ways to understand this. The first way is that it's never right to do something wrong to get something right.
Mhm.
It's never right to do something wrong to get something right. Doing something wrong is never the right road.
Mm.
It might be the fastest road, it might be the easiest road, it might be the most comfortable road, it might be the road where you can network with the most people or make more friends, but what is easy come is easy go. Yeah, what arrives quickly will leave quickly, very quickly. Relationships that start like this end like this. So, um, so it's important to be doing things for the right reason and to stay true to your own personal values. I think that it it's it's also wrong to just say I absolutely do not want any connection with these people for the simple reason that we're all stuck on this earth together, right?
Mhm.
And we all have to live here together, and it's difficult because we're all different and we have different values and different ideas and philosophies and histories and all these things coming together. So um, I think it's always worth saying that I can I can do business with you to increase the quality of what you do, but I have a certain set of values, and I'm not compromising on my values because because compromise is a really complex subject. I I try to teach people that compromise is always bad because you're losing part of yourself
Mm.
if you compromise. But I know that if you don't compromise on something somewhere at some point in time, sometimes you get nowhere.
Mm. Yes.
That's how school works, right? The school is a compromise. I follow your rules because I can learn something from doing things your way.
Mhm.
That's a
Yes.
compromise. There's no freedom of choice there. Um,
Mhm.
so I can learn something from that element of compromise. So compromise is okay if you approach it from what can I learn from this. If you and you're open about it, you can say to people, I can help you. I can make your business better. I don't like what you're doing, and I think there's a better way to do stuff, but let's put that there for now. But it still exists. I'm not going to hide the fact I don't like it, right? I'm not going to hide away because I know that if you surround yourself with more negative people who have the same opinion as you will believe that you're doing the right thing. And that's not good. Because we all need reflection. And reflection comes from what we see in ourselves and also from what we see in the world around about us as well. You know, we all, if we go to church, we need the minister or the priest in the church to be a better person than we are. We need the minister or the preacher to be a better person than we are.
Yes.
So that we have a guide and a leader and someone we can look up to and someone we can respect and someone we can follow. If that person is not a better person than we are, we have to find a different church. So there are a lot of good examples of bad leaders. Let's just say that, and then there's the moral and ethical things. But there are companies that I chose in the past not to work with because I did not agree with their philosophies. And because I couldn't do it on my terms. So I think you can compromise, but you can't compromise yourself. You can compromise the activity, you can compromise the time, but you can't compromise who you are. Yeah, it's if you're a player in a football team, you can't have the ball all the time.
Yes.
So you compromise that principle, allowing other people to have the ball so that everybody benefits, so that when you get the ball, you can do the best thing with it that you know how to do. And so that it's back to holistic principles, which are it's good until it's not good anymore, or it's bad until suddenly it's not bad. Like eating cornflakes is back to eating cornflakes, right? Eating cornflakes is good if there's nothing else to eat. If there's no other food, then eating cornflakes will save your life. That's good. But if you have a choice between fresh yogurt and fruit and cornflakes, it's better to choose the fresh yogurt and the fruit. So we all have to live within different environments and make difficult decisions. The only way to get respect from people is to leave money on the table. In the long term, the only way to get respect from people is to leave money on the table and say, I can't do this. Just to say these are my principles, and they're good principles, and I'm going to stick with them and follow them. Because when I stop following them, things start to not work, right? You have what works for your family, and you have probably the habits and maybe some rules and things that you do that work, and they work well. When you stop following those habits, the whole system falls apart. So the habits, the personal habits and the personal rules are very important. And if you go to any personal development training, one of the very first things that happen is the person says, "Oh, I want you to write down 10 rules for yourself." 10 rules for yourself. And first, it's really difficult to write down 10 rules. Then it's really difficult to follow the 10 rules, to keep the 10 rules. And then you discover over time that the rules must change. Because in life, if you grow, then you are not exactly the same person.
Mm.
And if you are not exactly the same person, the rules have to change to incorporate the new you into what is happening. There's an inner core of the person that doesn't change, but I think the aim is to grow, is to know, is to learn more. And as you learn more, you have to adapt and change the rules that you live by. Maybe you start by going to the gym once a week, and then maybe you move it to twice, maybe 3 times. Maybe you say, I'll read 5 books a year, and maybe it increases to 10 books a year or whatever. Um, maybe, I don't know, we all have different goals and different targets. Maybe the goal is one new business contact a week at the beginning. Maybe it's 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever. It grows. So it's good to remember the that sometimes the rules change for the right reasons because we're better people, because we grow and we know more, and so we can do more. So yeah, I've said no to working with certain. I said no a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes, I got an offer to work with a certain organization, and I said thank you very much. I like it. I appreciate it. I respect it. It's a really nice offer, but it doesn't fit in with where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
It will take me in a different direction. And at this moment, I don't think that direction is going to be the right direction for me. I don't, it's not in my vision to go there. Now, I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong because I can't tell you exactly what will happen tomorrow or next week or in 6 months. I don't know. There's no crystal ball.
Yes. You
Uh,
know the wisdom.
yeah,
Wisdom. Mm.
yes, yeah. That's a good word, wisdom. The wise house, yeah,
Mm.
and the dome being the top of the head. So, um, yeah, there's not even Google has a crystal ball. Okay, not even Google has a crystal ball, and I guarantee you that those Amazon Alexa, Google devices, I guarantee you, within 10 years, they will be shaped round like crystal balls. I get that's my prediction. I
Yes.
guarantee you that's going to happen because they will think that Google knows everything. Because Google wants people to think that Google knows everything.
Mm.
But there's still that variability of human creativity that makes everything special and everything different. The principle of creation, the principle of God. Yeah, and Google wants us to think that technology is going to make all our problems better, and it will solve problems only to make new problems.
Mm.
It will solve problems, and that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad thing, but we have to understand that we just change the old problems for new problems. There will always be problems. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a great word, sensible, meaning using our senses, what we naturally have to understand things. Like when you eat something and your tongue says that's not good, right? We have to listen to our senses, what they tell us about what is good within the world around about us. Mm.